I'll call the regular meeting of April 7, 2020 to order. And I can honestly say this is not something any of us on council ever figured we'd be doing in April of 2020, having a meeting like this because of what we had before. So I'm sure you'll hear a bit about that throughout the meeting. But for those that plan on watching this evening, please bear with us. This is our first time through this process. Hopefully we'll do it and get better at it, because it seems that this could be the way for a while. Hopefully not as long as some people are predicting, but who knows? And we'll deal with it as we go. So I'll start off first, the adoption of the agendas and minutes. First, an adoption of the meeting agenda for April 7th, 2020. I have a mover and a seconder.
I'll move it.
Second.
Do you have that, Gail?
Yes.
Okay. Next, the adoption of the meeting minutes of March the 3rd, 2020.
I make that motion.
Hey,
Second.
Okay. Business arising from previous minutes. There being none. New business. So usually this is the part of the meeting where we do the round the horn, if you will, and everyone to have a few things. I'd like to start off this evening, if I could, and talk a little bit about, I guess, the operations of our town and what's currently happening for those that plan on listening in. So we are working at a different level, obviously, than we were before COVID-19 started, but we have most of our employees are hooked up with cell phones and laptops and are working from home. The directors are all engaged, probably working harder now than they've worked ever before, and some of our senior managers. And I just want to take my hat off to these people who are obviously part of this meeting here tonight and thank them for what they're doing. This is never easy, but trying to run a town of the second biggest one in the province, in everybody's in your house, we're dealing with your kids and your spouse and in my case, relatives. So it becomes a challenge, and to have to do that and then expected to work more hours besides that. So I certainly want to thank our senior staff and our managers who are punching an awful lot of time and finding ways, creating ways to get things done safely. So thank you very much, guys, for that. I have to also acknowledge the federal and provincial government, the Prime Minister, the Premier, in particular here in our province, the Minister of Health, Minister Haggie, and our Chief Medical Officer. I can only imagine the amount of time that these people are spending and what they're doing right now. And, you know, in the cards that they've been dealt, I think they're doing a fabulous job, a marvelous job. And I want to thank them for what they're doing and getting us through this. And, you know, sometimes many some are calling now the unsung heroes, you know, the store clerks and the truck drivers and the people that we see every other day. Well, many of us are staying home or going out once a week. These people are working daily, dealing with all walks of people, of all walks of life, and under all kinds of stress, under a whole new set of rules. So I certainly want to thank them, especially the people here in our community that's looking after us. And of course, our first responders. What can you say about our first responders who are always there? And, you know, we've been clear in our messaging on COVID-19 to make sure if you have to make a 911 call, please identify the fact that you are having flu-like symptoms, you're under self-isolation, or anything dealing with COVID-19, because we certainly can't afford to have our first responders and their families come down with this. We need these people now more than ever before. So I ask people to really think about our first responders when they think about going out with COVID-19 symptoms. So please, and if you have to make that 911 call, please make sure you tell people about it before, so they can be, and this won't stop them from coming to your home. This will they'll certainly respond, but at least they'll be better prepared when they arrive. So I encourage everybody to do that. And then we've got all kinds of other things happening in our community. We've got the rainbows. And I'd love to know. So if anybody out there know, I know it started probably internationally somewhere, I believe was the first somebody told me, but the first person that brought it to our community, I'd love to know who it is and recognize them, because it took on a life of its own. Even our firemen and fire people, fire women got involved and decorated our fire station, and it was a fabulous shot. And certainly just goes to show that we're all in this together, and do create a bit of hope. So if anybody can identify for me the first person who started this in Conception Bay South, my understanding it was driven by our younger generation. It was fabulous. And I think as a town it'd be really cool if we could recognize the first person that put a rainbow up in their window and started this trend. So I'm reaching out. So if you know who that might be, please send me along an email or get a hold of me, and we'll certainly recognize them for starting what I think was a great thing here in our community. Then we have other groups like the Masked Bandits, I believe they're called, and anybody that needs a mask, they can certainly reach out on Facebook to the Masked Bandits. I believe they have their own site set up now. They've been providing homemade masks, which started out as really being told that they were of no use, to the National Chief Medical Officer of Canada actually saying they do add quite a bit of value in protecting other people when you're wearing a homemade mask. Now, there's all kinds of rules and strict things they'll tell you about using them, but these Masked Bandits, it was, I guess, started off with Jolene, was probably the leader of this, and now they've made, I think it was like 150 for the RNC, for example. And they've made them for all kinds of personal care homes, nursing homes, and so on. So if you are in need of a mask, you may have to show up at someone's door and take it out of a bag, but they'd be more than willing to provide you with one. So they asked me to let the people know that in the town, and hopefully we'll do more in the coming days to reach out and let people know about our very own Masked Bandits who are making all kinds of masks for people. Just quickly on our town facilities, we've closed them all some time ago. We've done a number of things. Obviously, our town hall is closed. And unfortunately, just yesterday, or the day yesterday, we had to close Topsail Beach. And that was one that bothered me quite a bit, because unlike our other facilities, it's not like a soccer field or a ball field or a playground. Topsail Beach to me was a place you went and parked your vehicle and took advantage of the beach. And there's something about the beach and something about the ocean, if you've lived in Conception Bay South, which we all do, there's something healing about it being next to the water. And don't ask me what it is, but sometimes we get that salt air and that fresh smell. It just does us good. And it certainly does me good. And so it bothered me to have to shut it down, simply because we were creating a place where people were going and hanging out. And everything that the Chief Medical Officer has said, and our provincial government, is stay at home and certainly don't go anywhere and get crowds together. And, it was too bad it came to that. And, I think it was Minister Haggie that said earlier, there's common sense sometimes is not always that common. So I encourage people to use common sense. As simple as parking by your buddy and having a chat is, it seems okay, but make sure that you're social distance apart. And really, to get the true message is stay home. They're asking everybody to stay home, and I encourage them, please stay home if you can do it at all, and follow all the rules that they're putting out and suggestions, from one person going to getting groceries to everything else. And, having a young family myself, I realize some of the challenges. As an old fellow used to say, some of the yaps are getting a little louder here on times than they were in the beginning, but we're dealing with it. We're getting through it. Everybody has to go to their own corner of the house and get out in the yard and have a walk around. And I suggest we all do the same. We're all in this together, and there's some people making sure that it works. So please listen to the advice of our chief medical officers, and we will get through it. Recycling. Just today, we saw an announcement put out by the provincial government condemning parades. And I guess in doing that, what they're condemning is the coming together of large groups of people. I mean, we had a number of requests for our fire trucks to drive by birthday parties and so on. And I know other communities have planned in a good-natured way, planned parades to thank first responders and so on. Well, the municipalities now have been asked to support the province in condoning these parades in any type. And what brings me next is the recycling. I know today that our neighbors, Town of Paradise, did a recycling thing where you can drop off your recycling and so on. And, from all indications, and I spoke to Mayor Bobbitt, they did it as safely as possible. There was no interaction. However, there was quite a lineup and quite a number of people that came out. And I guess for that reason, and the fact that there's an awful lot of hands-on to the recycling program further down the line, the town of Conception Bay South, myself and the council have agreed that we're not going to do that at this point, simply because of the direction to stay at home. And we will obviously revisit it as time goes on. And I realize that this is piling up in people's backyards and garages, mine no different than everybody else's. But unfortunately, that's what we have to do right now. And it's not lost on us that we have a number of people who would like to see the recycling dealt with, but unfortunately, we're going to err on the side of caution, and we're not going to do it right now. Now, having said that, in a couple of weeks' time or a month's time, it might be possible. There might be a way to do it. But for right now, it's not going to be any recycling for the next couple of weeks at the very minimum. So keep your stuff, and if you can store it all, please do. So I have nothing further to add. So I'm going to now go around the horn to council, starting off with Deputy Mayor Murphy. Deputy Mayor, something you'd like to say?
Yes, Your Worship. Of course, I agree. We are living in a different time in our lives, and of course, it's trying on all of us. But to follow up with some of the things that you just mentioned, I'd like to give the residents a little bit of an update on where we are with respect to our financial position. Based on what we know today, including the current projections and when restrictions in our society may ease, residents can maintain their confidence in the town's fiscal position and capabilities at this time. Our focus remains on the provision of essential civic services to meet the needs of our residents. From a fiscal position, we can and we will continue to provide these services to our residents. Our ability to do so is not in jeopardy. The town of Conception Bay South understands the difficulties that COVID-19 pandemic is placing on our residents. For any resident or business who has signed up for our 2020 Equal Payment Plan, the town will defer payments upon request without penalty. Payments will restart in July and will be updated to reflect payment of the balance remaining by December 31st. Additionally, the town will not be charging interest on any accounts until June. Please email finance@conceptionbaysouth.ca to make deferral requests. Staff are set up to work from home and are responding to emails and phone messages. To reach the financial staff, you can call 834-6500, extension 201, and leave a message and someone will return your call. You can also email our staff at finance@conceptionbaysouth.ca. Staff are also responding to messages left on the after hours line, which is 834-6529. Tax payments are accepted via online banking, via credit card through our third-party provider, Plastique, which can be accessed on the town's website, or by check via regular mail or at the drop box located outside the town hall. For services such as building permits, tax certificates, and compliance letter, the town accepts credit card payments over the phone. Any requests for changes to existing pre-authorized payments should be made via email to finance@conceptionbaysouth.ca. Applications for seniors tax reduction or low income reduction should be made via regular mail, email to finance@conceptionbaysouth.ca, or can be left at the drop box outside the town hall. Tax information requests and tax certificates will continue. However, residents and lawyers should ensure sufficient time before real estate sale closing. Vendor invoices should be sent to accounts payable conceptionbaysouth.ca and are being processed as received. To inquire about any other payments, please email accountspayable@conceptionbaysouth.ca. For any inquiries for financial services not listed, please email finance@conceptionbaysouth.ca. These are difficult times. I would ask residents to please be patient when making requests and inquiries. Staff will respond as soon as possible. Please continue to follow the social distancing guidelines from the Chief Medical Officer. Remember that we are all in this together to stay safe, stay home, and stay healthy. So, Your Worship, I just wanted to get that out there to the residents and leave the rest for my colleagues on council. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Uden.
Yes, Your Worship, I'll be brief. I'd just like to echo some of your comments with regards to the patience of our residents and the work done on behalf of the province and our essential workers within the town. I'd just like to thank also a lot of our user groups who were affected at the stadium and our recreation facilities, most of which had been closed, or all of which. And, you know, it certainly impacts everybody's life and the understanding and level of understanding on behalf of the residents. So I know staff have issued refunds and are working through it on a daily basis, but just like to thank for the patience. Be safe, stay home, and listen to the scientists. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Uden. Councillor Tilley.
Thank you, Worship. I'm not going to belabor what you guys just said. You all said it perfectly. You know, other than guys, you know, we're living in a different time. So, you know, be safe, take care of yourselves and your families, and of course, heed the advice of the health officials. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Being someone who's on the front line as it is, so thanks very much. Councillor Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship, I'll be brief. Obviously, we've been all encouraged to try and be upbeat during this pandemic, this different time that we're into. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
This different time that we're into, and I guess we've all tried to do that.
Tell her to be home later.
That's my granddaughter. We're talking about reality. That's my granddaughter wants to talk to me on FaceTime tonight.
Oh, good stuff.
So I've got to put her off for a little while. But I know yesterday when we saw our list, our numbers, that we've got 23 people with this disease in our community, sort of brought everybody back to reality. And I just want to encourage everybody to stay home and certainly to stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bent.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just wanted to note a couple of things this evening. I just want to talk for a moment about the resiliency of the young people who would normally be in school this time of year and with their friends directly and involved in activities after school and during, of course, and with their teachers and in a place that they're comfortable, familiar with. And now they're home and separated from their friends, but with their families. And that's a unique and opportunity, you know, that this has posed for us. But also, they're also staying connected in a number of different ways. And I know that with Holy Spirit and Villanova, they held their Spirit Week went ahead, but it went ahead virtually. And they made ways to stay connected and to celebrate their school and themselves together through different internet options. And that was great to see. And another group, St. George's Elementary, put together a Green Heart program where they made green hearts and encouraged the students to display them in their window, much like the rainbows, encouraging people to stay safe and be careful and so forth, and talk of hope and that was really nice to see that. And of course, I even seen I think the group at Topsail Elementary online this week did a virtual at the beach week. So you sort of made a beach scene at home and posted it up on social media and shared your pictures so that the other classmates and so forth could see this. These are all wonderful things to keep young people connected and to keep them, occupied as well. And it's great to see the resiliency, and it's great to see that so many of the teachers who are home now are continuing to reach out to their students and to reach out to the student body, and the parents are working with them as well. And it's fantastic. I think testament to the communities that we've built within Conception Bay South through our school groups, and hats off to them. And of course, hats off to all the essential workers. I know that something came out today that from the provincial government that discouraged the parades and so forth, and because of not wanting to promote physical distancing, of course, but that doesn't mean that we can't all, in our own way, make sure that our essential workers, who many of them have been working many hours, many extra hours, and sometimes, dealing with this can be very stressful, of course. So I think that we can all do our part in reaching out and thanking them. And that doesn't mean just the healthcare workers, not just the healthcare workers, but all the people that have to go do a day's work at this time. I know that Councillor Hillier touched on it. There's 23 cases here in Conception Bay South, and those families are concerned, and in some cases, I'm sure, fearful. And there's also been 2 deaths in this province, and those families are heartbroken as well. And I just want to say, it's very tough. I know we have to close down Topsail Beach and other things, but we're doing it in the interest to ensure that those numbers stay down, and they're not just numbers. And I think some of our provincial counterparts have said it before. These aren't just numbers. These are people, families, friends of ours, people that we know. And we need to make sure that they're safe, and we need to do everything that we possibly can to do that. And unfortunately, Topsail Beach is closed down now, but that's a necessary move to help protect the people around our town. So as the other councillors and mayor said, stay safe and stay home, and all the best. Thank you, Worship.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Bent. Councillor Mercy.
Yes, Your Worship, just a few things. The town of Conception Bay South remains committed to the public safety and continues to take measures to slow the transition of the COVID-19. As a result, we are focusing on the provisions of the essential services only, but will reassess the ability to provide additional services on a daily basis. The essential services will include garbage collection following the existing schedule, and necessary maintenance of town infrastructure such as water sampling and wastewater treatment. Recycling is discontinued for now, but is being assessed on a weekly to determine options will keep in accordance with the COVID-19 federal and provincial government guidelines. We greatly appreciate the public's patience during this time and extend our greatest thanks to the town employees that allow us to keep some normalcy in our daily routines, like having water on our taps and being able to flush our toilets. Thanks.
Thank you kindly, sir. Councillor. Councillor Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of things here, a couple of reminders to our residents. First off, the Trailway closure. A reminder that the section of Trailway from Delaney's Road to Doyle's Road remains closed until further notice due to the impacts of Snowmageddon, while the section of the Trailway from Delaney's Road to Spruce Hill Road remains open, as well as the Chamberlain's Park and Gateway trails. We ask that you employ all the physical distancing practices indicated by the provincial government and only go outside your property if you feel well. And also, during COVID-19, departmental staff have been working closely with various industry associations and have been reaching out to our valued business community. Please know that our economic development staff are resourceful and right there for you as you navigate through the next few weeks and months. You can reach them anytime at ecdev@conceptionbaysouth.ca or telephone 834-6500 at extension 702. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Councillor Davis.
Yes, Your Worship. I have a couple of comments, but I'd like to do it before we close, before we
Okay.
adjourn, if that's okay.
Sure. So visitors, presentations, and petitions. There being none, I'm aware of. I don't know if I wouldn't think we have any visitors. Recommendations of the Planning and Development Committee, Chair Councillor Rex Hillier. Councillor Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship, these are recommendations that come forward from our March 10th, 2020 meeting. Number one,
Your Worship, sorry, Councillor Hillier or Chair Hillier, I'm in conflict on number 1. I'm going to leave the meeting as per our protocol and join when you finish that one, okay?
yes, sir.
I'm left.
Yes, Your Worship, getting back, 1290 Exception Bay Highway, we have an application for a proposed telecommunications tower, and the recommendation. Be it so resolved that application number COM-19-076 received on December 18, 2019, seeking approval for construction of a 45.7 meter monopole tower with equipment shelter at its base at 1290 Exception Bay Highway, Upper Gullies, be refused in accordance with Council's authority under section 4.6 of the town's development regulations, in consideration of the potential negative impacts of future commercial development and redevelopment of the property. So moved.
Discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. As you can see, the proposal is for a communications tower. Our concern there is that while it's in a commercial area and so it fits in that zone, that particular commercial zone has no master plan in place, as there's no planning for that piece of property. And at this point in time, we're not sure that we want to plunk a communications tower right down in the middle of that piece of property.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Your Worship, number 2, 3133 Greeley Gardens, Foxtrot. Be it so resolved that application number COM 20-014 for the operation of a custom cabinetry manufacturing and sales business be approved.
Councillor Hillier,
Yes?
excuse me, we have to wait for Councillor Uden to return.
Okay, and how far did he go?
I guess somebody can text him.
Already done.
Thank you.
Okay, let's try it again. Is he back online?
Not yet.
Easy enough to get him out, but trying to get him back, that's something else.
He's acknowledged the message, so he's got it. He must be just logging back in.
Okay, so will I continue?
Just hang on. Is he back?
Mr. Mayor, he's saying that the system's asking him to wait.
Yeah, he got to go all the way out. I had an issue with that starting the meeting. He has to go all the way out and come in again. I think was what I did. I could have been lucky, but maybe one of the staff could give him a call. I don't know if Liz, if you could give him a call on your phone, it would be appreciated. One of the benefits of technology, huh?
Apparently, Mr. Mayor, the host has to let him back in.
Maybe we could just send him another invite for this meeting, and I think he could probably jump in then.
I've got the IT department on it, so he should be here now shortly.
Okay, thanks.
I'm in there now.
Oh, good.
Welcome back, Councillor.
There was a little bit of technical difficulties.
Okay, so number 2, 3133 Greeley Gardens. Be it so resolved that application number COM 20-014 for the operation of a custom cabinetry manufacturing and sales business be approved as a change to the legal non-conforming use at 3133 Greeley Gardens, Foxtrot, in accordance with Council's discretionary authority of Section 5.19 of the Conception Bay South Development Regulations. So moved.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 3, Your Worship, at 67 Monument Road, Topsail. Be it so resolved that application number COM-20-007 submitted on January 20, 2020, seeking approval of a contractor's storage yard at 67 Monument Road, Topsail, be refused as the proposed commercial use is not listed as a permitted or discretionary use within the residential low density use zone of the town's development regulations in which the property is located. So moved.
Second.
Sorry?
I
Discussion?
second that.
Yes, so Worship, basically what we've got here is an application for commercial operation in a residential zone, and town has turned it down.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And Your Worship, blanket recommendation from March 10th.
If I could, Your Worship, I'm declaring a conflict with regards to the blanket. There was a matter in that I had declared a conflict of interest on it a previous time. It was discussed during this meeting that I left at the time. So I'm going to log out now. And Gerard, if you don't mind sending me a text and I'll log back in.
Okay.
Recommendation, be it so resolved that the recommendations, decisions made at the Planning and Development Committee meeting of March 10, 2020 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And Your Worship, I believe I've got one recommendation there coming out of Committee of the Whole meeting on March 31st, and we'll wait for Councillor Bent to get back to us.
Zoom meetings don't allow for conflict of interest. We've learned that tonight.
Thank you, I'm back.
Oh, correct. Good to go.
All righty. Yes, Your Worship, one item from our committee of the whole meeting held on March 31st. Recommendation to 2 10-unit road dwelling 1643 Conception Bay Highway, Seal Cove. Recommendation, be it so resolved that application number 20-018 received on March 5th, 2020, seeking approval of 2 10-unit road dwellings at 1641, 1643 Conception Bay Highway, Seal Cove, be refused as the property is deficient by approximately 90 meters of the 120-meter frontage required for the proposed development, as set out by section 10-11-3 of the Town's Development Regulations. So moved.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Your Worship, basically we've got a development that a developer wants to put a building there that the property is really not big enough for, or certainly the frontage of the property is not big enough for.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And Your Worship, to follow up, anyone who's looking for inspections, I've got a note here from our Director of Planning. Says the town is completing inspections a few days out from when you wish to have an inspection. Please email your request to planning@conceptionbaysouth.ca and include the address, type of inspection, and a telephone number for someone who is responsible for the site. Staff will contact you, review safety precautions, and schedule a time for the inspection. So our inspections are still going ahead, just a little bit differently as is everything else. All right, Your Worship, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, recommendations of Engineering and Public Works Committee, Chair Councillor Junior Bursey.
Yes, sir. In a presentation of the recommendations of the meeting held on March 10th, 2020, taken into general revenue, water and sewer security deposits as a recommendation. Be it so resolved that water and sewer security deposits in the amount of $8,425 be taken into general revenue, as the owners of the properties have failed to comply with the street excavation and reinstatement policy and permit. That's it.
So moved. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those against? Motion carried.
Recommendation number 2, let it be resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Engineering and Public Works Committee meeting on March 10, 2020 be accepted as presented.
Seconder?
I'll second that.
And
Discuss.
the first,
1 second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
and from our March 31st meeting, 2020, the presentation of recommendations from our Committee of the Whole meeting held on March 31st, 2020. Ratification of PO number 2020-0363, recommendation. Be it so resolved, that approval be given to Black & McDonald Limited to ratify this PO number 2020-0363 in the amount of $27,718.50 plus HST funds to be taken from the account number 01-302 1000-5510.
Seconder?
Your Worship,
Second that.
there was a mistake in what Councillor Bursey read out in the amount. I believe he said 27,118, but I think it should be 21,718.50, if I'm correct. Can you confirm that, Gail?
Yes, I have 21,718.50.
That's what I thought I said, but
No, but you
I
didn't,
stand to
sir.
be
I'm sorry.
corrected. I stand to be corrected.
All right, Councillor Mercer, I got you. And
Thank
it
you.
was seconded by Councillor Davis. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you,
And-
Councillor Mercer. Oh, sorry.
No, sir. And from a meeting today, I got another recommendation. The public recommendation for award for this 2020 street upgrading and paving approval award, engineering services. As recommendation, be it so resolved that the approval be given to enter into prime consultant agreement with the Harborside Transportation Consultants for the 2020 street upgrading and paving, including sidewalks, at the approximate cost of $107,991 plus HST. The scope of the work includes design, tendering, contract administration, inspection for minor upgrades, paving and sidewalks in school zones. Work is tentatively scheduled for 2020, pending the pandemic guidelines. Funds are available in the project account. You gotta say it right then, Deputy Mayor.
Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those against? Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Mercy. Recommendations of the Recreation Leisure Service Committee, Chair Councillor Kirk Uden.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of quick things. We had a couple of things in the works prior to the COVID thing, and one of them was, I guess, a request for proposals on comprehensive billing energy audit. Like everyone else, we're looking to save money on our bills and so forth. So in an effort to reduce our consumption and operating costs and to provide a more efficient program for the town put forward a request for proposals in early February. After staff reviewed the proposal and it recommended award, and I am tabling the following recommendation. It should be noted that the audit will not commence until all our buildings are fully operational once we recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. So that is our only recommendation. Be it so resolved that RFP 2001 request for proposals on a comprehensive building energy audit be awarded to Core Engineering Incorporated at a cost of $29,500 plus HST. Funds are available in the so noted account. So moved.
Seconder?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Second recommendation, we did meet and is a blanket recommendation. Be it so resolved that the recommendations, decisions made at the Recreation and Leisure Services meeting on March 10th, 2020 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Oh, sorry.
Just quickly, I know our town staff and so forth, many of which are working from home. They provided a lot of programming, which has been postponed. But I'm understanding that they're looking at alternative ways in which they can start to bring some different programming for those in the town as well. So I know the committee got its work cut out for it, but hopefully we can start to reach out with some new things.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Uden. Recommendations of Financial Administration Service Committee Chair Deputy Mayor Richard Murphy.
Thank you, Your Worship. Presentations of recommendations of meeting held on March the 10th, 2020. Accounts payable check register, be it so resolved that approval be given to pay accounts payable checks totaling $345,861.98. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Ratification of manual checks previously released. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify the payment of manual checks previously released totaling $379,252.89. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Ratification of direct payments previously released. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify direct payments previously released totaling $454,701.63. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Capital invoices. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay capital invoices totaling $179,209.91 as per the attached table. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those against? Motion carried.
Tax and other receivables adjustments. Be it so resolved that approval be given to adjust tax and other receivable accounts as per the attached list. So moved.
Seconder?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Policy amendment, low income interest relief policy. Be it so resolved that the low income relief policy amendment be adopted as presented. So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
And just what are we changing with regards to, I guess, the policy?
I believe, Counselor, it was amendments that were needed to be done as a result of some of the changes that were brought forward in our budget. Am I correct in that, Liz?
The policy, both of these policies actually referred to an exact dollar amount for the thresholds for people who apply under this program. But we follow the direction of the low income limit set by the federal government. So we took out the reference to the exact dollar amount and just put in reference to the federal government policy.
All right, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried.
Policy amendment, low income property tax reduction policy. Be it so resolved that the low income property tax reduction policy amendment be adopted as presented. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried.
The next one is an order for number 18 Emerald Creek Drive. Be it so resolved that the file relating to 18 Emerald Creek Drive, Conception Bay South, be referred to the town lawyers for legal action. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next one is approval to call an RFP for agency of record. Be it so resolved that approval be given to call a request for proposals for an agency of record for marketing services. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And finally, Your Worship, the blanket recommendation be it so resolved that recommendations, decisions made at the Financial and Administrative Services Committee meeting of March 10th, 2020 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Excuse me, Deputy Mayor. Were you supposed to declare conflict in that blanket recommendation?
No, that will be on the next meeting of March 31st. Council.
Okay. My apologies.
No problem.
Seconder,
Second it.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next, your worship, is the presentation of recommendations of committee of the whole meeting on March 31st, 2020. Accounts payable check register. So resolved that approval be given to pay accounts payable checks totaling $833,566.60. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Next one is ratification of manual checks previously released. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify the payment of manual checks previously released totaling $439,355.04. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Yes, your worship, the next recommendation, I will vacate the meeting as I'm declaring conflict of interest. So Councillor Tilly is going to bring forward that recommendation.
Okay, so you're going to sign off and we will text you to sign back in.
Thank you.
Okay, is he gone?
I think so. I don't see him here anywhere. Yeah, it's gone.
Capital invoices as recommendation number 3. This is just some of the business that we've done in the town and we've got to pay our bills. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay capital invoices totaling $165,003.94 as follows. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we'll have to reach out to Deputy Mayor Murphy.
Yeah, I got him texted back in.
Okay. Give it a minute till he joins.
Somebody's tired.
Yeah. Kinda.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Welcome
Okay.
back.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's it for you, Deputy Mayor.
It is, yes, your worship, thank you.
Recommendations, the Economic and Development and Tourism Chair, Councillor Christine Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Presentation of recommendations, a meeting held March 10th, 2020. Can Export Community Investment Fund 2020. Recommendation, be it so resolved that approval be given to enter into a contribution agreement with Global Affairs Canada for funding totaling $13,150 for use in foreign investment attraction initiatives. Matching funds are available within the Economic Development Operating Budget. So moved.
Seconder,
Second it.
Second.
discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. This funding will complement any ongoing departmental investment attraction initiatives for 2020. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And our blanket recommendation, be it so resolved that the recommendations, decisions made at the Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting of March 10th, 2020 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder? The discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And then we go to presentation of recommendations of committee of whole meeting held on March 31st, 2020. Conception Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. Recommendation be so resolved that approval be given to provide a $5,000 grant to the Conception Bay Area Chamber of Commerce to support its efforts to provide services to the business community during the COVID-19 pandemic. Funds are available in the Economic Development Operating Budget. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, I just wanted to say the town continues to have a very close working relationship with the chamber, and the provision of a grant will enhance their outreach to all business in the town. In the coming months, it is our collective goal to maintain and increase the resiliency of our business community. Thank you.
Those in favor? Oh, sorry.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you,
Thank you.
Councillor Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Other committee reports? Being none, I think Councillor Davis, you wanted to have something to say on the closer out?
Yes, Your Worship. First of all, I just want to say we are experiencing some difficult times right now. This COVID virus is affecting each and every one of us in many ways. I'd like to take an opportunity to thank our management and staff for everything they are doing to keep our residents safe. I'd also like to thank all our essential workers who have been doing what they do for all of us, sometimes putting themselves in harm's way. I know like many of us, I look forward to our lives getting back to some kind of normal. I'd also like to remember the people who lost their lives to the virus, and my deepest condolences to their family and friends. There are days like this. Some days affect us more than others. Today is the day that affects me. My dad is 85 today. Unfortunately, I cannot be with him. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say happy birthday to my dad, John Crane from Upper Island Cove, and wish him a happy birthday. Let him know I will celebrate him at a later date. We'll have a celebration. Also, I'd like to say happy birthday to our mayor.
Yay.
Thank you.
And one more thing, I'd just like to remind our residents how important it is to listen to the rules, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and please stay safe. Thank you, Your Worship.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, thanks again, guys, for taking, probably the first ever in the history of the town of CBS, I would think, that a public meeting, town of Conception Bay South, that a public meeting was held this way. So I hope this is the last time it's done, but unfortunately it's not looking like that. So we could be doing this for a while. I apologize for a few kinks and blips to those that are following the meeting tonight. But hopefully we'll have that worked out as time goes on and we all get better at using technology. So again, thanks very much. And I'd call for adjournment. Motion to
So
adjourn.
move.
Second.
Second.
All right, guys, thanks very much and have a good night.